Hey guys, hi. My name is Preeti and welcome to my channel Edu Maths. Today I'm going to brief you on the topic polynomials, which is there in your 9th standard mathematics. Now this chapter is important not only for your 10th boards but also for other exams like NTSC, KVPY, Olympiads. You get a lot of questions, basically MCQ questions based on this chapter polynomials. So if you pay attention and watch my video till the end, I can assure you that you will be able to grasp a lot of terms and concepts related to this chapter. So what are you waiting for? Let's get started. When we start with the chapter polynomials, we come across many terms like constant, variable, algebraic expression of polynomial, terms or coefficients, degree, classification based on terms and degree. So we are going to discuss all these elements elaborately in this video, right? Now before we begin with the topic polynomials, let me give you an everyday example wherein you come across the terms constant and variable, right? So when you talk of science, you must have heard of the term called acceleration due to gravity. What is it? Acceleration due to gravity. In physics, it is represented by small g and its value is 9.8 meter per second square. Now, when a particle or when an object falls freely, it always falls with an acceleration 9.8 meter per second square. So whether you are in Mumbai or in the United States, it doesn't matter. The object will always fall freely with this acceleration. So irrespective of the place, the acceleration due to gravity, its value remains fixed, which is constant, right? So this is called constant. It remains fixed. It remains fixed in its magnitude. It does not change irrespective of the place. Now in chemistry, you must have heard of the term Avogadro's number. Now what is Avogadro's number? Avogadro's number says that the number of particles in 1 mole of any substance is always 6.02 into 10 to the power 23. Right? So say for example, if we have 1 mole of water, it will always consist of 6.02 into 10 to the power 23 molecules of water. Right? Now if I talk about 1 mole of carbon atom, this will also consist of 6.02 into 10 to the power 23 atoms of carbon. So you see, 1 mole of this substance or 1 mole of any other substance, it will always consist of 6.02 into 10 to the power 23 particles of that substance. So you see, Avogadro's number is always remaining constant, fixed in its numerical value, which is 6.02 into 10 to the power 23. So that's about, the everyday examples of constants in a daily life. Now, if you talk about the quantity like variable, you also come across in your daily life. Talk about temperature and humidity. So does the temperature in Mumbai or in Calcutta or in the United States or in, UK, does it remain same? No. Temperature and humidity keeps on changing with change in conditions and situation. So temperature and humidity becomes what? Variable quantity. It changes from one place to another, right? So now let us proceed to what we are going to study in this chapter. Coming to algebra, let us understand one by one the definition of the terms which I stated earlier at the beginning of this video. Now the first term was constant. In the chapter polynomial, the first term that you come across is constant. Now what is constant? Component which never changes in its value or magnitude is known as constant. So it has a fixed numerical value. For example, 8 minus 2 root 3 5 by 9 etc. Now आपने बचपन से पढ़ा होगा 2 is 2, minus 2 is minus 2, 8 is 8. So they have a fixed numerical value. They will not take up any other value. So these are constants. Now the next term is variable. What is variable? It's a component which varies from situation to situation. That is, it can be assigned different numerical values. And in algebra, it is represented by small alphabets like X, Y, Z, A, B, or maybe alpha, beta, etc. So these are variables in algebra represented by alphabets, and constants are fixed numerical values, right? Now the third term that we come across is the element term itself. So you have to understand what is term in the chapter Polynomials. Now the term is basically consisting of two blocks. Now what are these blocks made up of? The first block consists of the part constant, and the second block is made up of the part variable. Say for example you have 5x. So 5 is constant and x is the variable part. So 5x together becomes a term. Now if I talk about 6xy, then 6 is constant and xy is the variable. So 6xy in total together is known as the term. Similarly, you can have terms like 5x cubed minus 3 by 5 b squared. So basically, term is an element which is consisting of four important things, which is what? Sign, right? You have to consider the mathematical operator, that is the sign also. Either it is plus or minus. So sign, then the number part, then you have the variable and the power of the variable. So these four things together make up the term. Like for example, minus 3 by 5 b squared, it has minus sign, then it has the number part and the variable part b, which is raised to the power 2, right? Now children, let us come to the next part, which is what? Algebraic expression. Now what is algebraic expression in this chapter, Polynomials? So algebraic expression is combination of constant and variable connected by some or all operators. With what operators? Mathematical operators like plus, minus, multiplication, division. Now algebraic expression is this. What is this? Combination of constant and variable. Now let me give you an example which will clarify this particular term. 8x cubed plus 3x squared plus 5xy minus 4 by 9. Now this entire expression is called algebraic expression. Why? Because it is what? It is a combination of constant and variable, as you can see. Constant is 8 and there are variables x and y involved in it. Plus they are connected by what? Mathematical operators plus and minus. Now kids, can you tell me what are the terms in this expression? Yes, correct. The terms are 8x cubed, 3x squared, 5xy and minus 4 by 9. We don't write plus sign because it is taken by default. If it is plus, it is plus by default. But yes, when it is a minus sign, we have to consider the sign also while writing the terms, right? Now kids, you might be thinking, oh my God, there are so many terms in this chapter. But don't get confused because they may be many in number, but they are very easy to understand, right? Now coming to the root word, polynomials. Now what is polynomials? Let us understand the word polynomials. Now polynomials in an algebraic expression, what am I writing? In an algebraic expression, if powers of variables are non-negative integers, non-negative integers. That is what? Whole numbers. Non-negative integers means whole numbers. Then it is a polynomial. Now let me give you an example. Say for the first example that I can take is x cube minus 7x squared plus 5x minus 2. Now why is this called polynomial? You can clearly see that it is an algebraic expression. Why? Because it is a combination of constants and variables connected by operators. But what makes it so special that it is now being defined as polynomial? Why? Because you can see that powers of all the variables here, it is raised to the power 3, so it is a whole number. Here x is raised to the power 2, which is a whole number. Again in the next term, x is raised to the power 1. And this term is constant term, which is 2. So in the entire expression, the powers of the variables are non-negative integers. So this algebraic expression comes under polynomial. It can be classified as a polynomial. Let me give you another example to make it more clear. 2 by 3 x cube plus 3x squared plus 1. Now this again is what? It is a polynomial. Why? Because the powers of the variables involved are all non-negative integers. And say for example, if I have a term like say 2y squared plus root 3y plus root 5. Now these two expressions, they were polynomials in which variable? Variable x. And this is a polynomial in variable y. We can take up random variables like x, y, z, a, b, c, etc. Now this again comes under polynomial. See here, the y is raised to the power 2. So 2 is non-negative integer. Y is raised to power 1 in this term, which is also a non-negative integer. So the entire expression becomes what? A polynomial. Got it, kids? Now guys, you know what are polynomials. Here is a question for you to try. Now the question is, which of the expressions below are polynomials? Okay. So for example, if I ask you a polynomial, say x squared plus x plus 3 by x. Now you have to say whether it is a polynomial or not. Now you know what are polynomials? Polynomials are expressions in which powers of the variables are all whole numbers. So one by one, for each of the terms, we have to check whether the powers of the variables are whole numbers or not. Now x raised to the power 2, so its exponent is plus 2. Again x is raised to the power 1, so the power is 1, which is a whole number. But in this case, 3 by x, So 3 by x, this means x to the power minus 1. So 1 by x means x to the power minus 1. So the power of this variable becomes minus 1, which is not a whole number. So this expression is not a polynomial. Got it? This is not a polynomial because one of the terms is having a variable with power which is not a non-negative integer. It is not a whole number. Now say for another example which I can give is say root x plus 6. Now what is the power of x in this case? Root x means x to the power half. Now half is a fraction. It is a rational number. It is not whole number. So this expression again is not a polynomial. Third example which I can give you is say x to the power 2/3 plus 8x plus 1. Now if you check the powers of the variables in each of the terms, then here the power is 2 by 3 and here the power is 1, x to the power 1, and this is a constant term. So one of the terms is having a variable where the power is not a whole number, rather it is a rational number. So again this expression will not come under polynomials, because if we go by the definition of polynomials, it does not satisfy the condition that the powers of the variables have to be whole numbers, right? So this is again not a polynomial. Now let us come to the next terminology in this chapter called coefficients. Now what are coefficients? Coefficients. Look at this example, polynomial expression 8x cubed minus 3x squared y plus 5x minus 2. Now this is a polynomial, right? Now what are coefficients? Each of the term, we have to look at each of the terms and see. Now here the coefficient of x cube is 8. So coefficient means leaving that variable, apart from that variable, the remaining part in that term becomes the coefficient of that variable. So similarly, in the second term, there are two variables involved. So first we will take say x squared. Then coefficient of x squared is what? Minus 3y. So we have to also consider the sign while writing the coefficient. We cannot ignore the sign over here. So coefficient of x squared becomes minus 3y. Similarly, there is one more variable involved over here, which is y. So coefficient of y is the remaining part. What remains is minus 3x squared. So coefficient of y becomes minus 3x squared. And coefficient of, in this term, there is a variable x. So the coefficient of this variable x is 5 and the last term is constant term. Constant term is minus 2. We don't write any coefficient over here because we don't have any variable involved in the last term. So each of the terms we have to check one by one and we have to find out the coefficient of the respective variables, right? So children, that's it for now in this chapter. We shall discuss degree and classification of polynomials based on degree and terms in part 2 of this video, because otherwise the video will become too lengthy. And please, if you have any doubt or you want more clarification on any part, please do write in the comment box below. I will definitely get back to you. Till then, bye and have a good day.